Hi, I'm Stephanie Izard, and I'm hanging out here at the Le Cordon Bleu campus in Chicago with my friend Anthony, and we're just doing a little cooking. What I wanted to do is celebrate some of the classic techniques that I learned when I was going through school, that I could use throughout my cooking career as a chef. And what I wanted to highlight today was some sauteing of scallops, one of my favorites. What you do is get a nice crusty brown coating that really shows off their natural sweetness. We're going to combine it with some beautiful wild mushrooms, and then we're going to finish it off with a very simple lemon butter and tarragon sauce. So we're just getting our mushrooms ready to go. The technique of sauteing is based on cooking something in a small amount of fat over very high heat. It's great for something like scallops or all sorts of fish. It's also very great for vegetables. So we're going to use it for both of our mushrooms and our scallops. So first, we just want to make sure we have a smoking hot pan. Once you see a little bit of smoke, you're going to add in a little bit of fat. For sauteing, you always want to use either grapeseed oil or canola oil because they have a high smoke point and they won't burn when you're sauteing. Just a little fat. And then we want to season our scallops. It's very important to make sure you put salt and pepper on everything that you cook. And then carefully place your scallops in the hot pan. What we're going to do is leave the pan on super hot for about a minute so that a brown skin starts to form. Then we're going to turn it down to medium and let that skin continue to develop. I think one of the most important things I learned when I was learning how to saute back when I was in school was to have a little bit of patience and just let the scallops do the work. Meanwhile, I think we'll saute our mushrooms. For most of my vegetables, I like to use a little bit of oil as well as a little bit of butter. Mushrooms are like sponges. They love to soak up all of the flavors that you use, so butter just gives it a nice richness. We've got our pan nice and hot for sauteing. We're going to add in the mushrooms. And when you're cooking vegetables, you want to wait until they've started to get a little bit brown before adding your salt. What salt does is it draws out all the moisture. And if you have a very moist vegetable, it's not going to be able to brown nicely in the pan. They're starting to get a little bit of color, so I'm going to go ahead and add the salt so they can soak up that seasoning. Beautiful. Now while those are going, we'll go ahead and check on our scallops. It looks like they're getting a really nice brown skin. Fantastic. We're going to go ahead and flip that over. Again, we're going to add in just a little bit of butter. And one of the second parts of sauteing is actually basting. Very similar to what you do with your turkey while it's basting in the oven. We're going to baste in our pan. So we're going to take our spoon, with a little bit of that butter, and just spoon it over the top. It helps to keep the cooking even and also adds a lot of different flavors. Those are looking great. Our mushrooms are just about done. With scallops, you want to pull them out when they're about at mid-rare. As with all proteins, they will continue to carry over cook, which means that they'll start to cook a little bit more after they come out of the pan. So in order to avoid overcooking them and making them really rubbery, we're going to take them out right when they're mid-rare. Beautiful. The crust really comes from the natural sweetness of the scallops. Now our pan is filled with all these different flavors from the scallops. So instead of letting that go to waste, we're going to turn it into a pan sauce. So we've got a little butter in the pan. That's turned into a brown butter. It's nice and nutty. And we're going to add in some fresh lemon juice. You want to make sure you always use freshly squeezed lemon juice. Some of the stuff that you can get pre-squeezed has some chemicals in it, which we want to avoid. And be careful, this might flame up just a little bit. Add in some lemon juice. A little salt and pepper. And this should reduce pretty quickly and start to thicken just a bit. To finish it off, we're just going to add in a little bit of fresh tarragon. You could use any of your favorite herbs. And I'm just going to give it a little taste because you always want to taste everything as you're going. It's great. It's got a nice lemony flavor and a little bit of nuttiness. So ready to plate. What's great about the classic techniques that I learned at Le Cordon Bleu is that I can apply them to many different foods while I'm doing my cooking. What you do with the scallops to get that nice brown crust works beautifully on halibut, on sea bass. It also works very nice on chicken skin and even on beef. And with the vegetables, you can do this with all sorts of veggies, from haricot vert, some green beans, to some asparagus. Really, whatever you're having for dinner, a little saute goes a long way. Now we're all ready to plate. This might seem like a simple part, but if you think about it, you always see a dish with your eyes first. So you want to make sure that it's beautiful. We're going to put down some of the mushrooms that we cleaned, and then we'll top it off with a few scallops. I always like to stick with odd numbers. 3 scallops looks better than 4. Go right across the top, and then Anthony, you want to help me out and do some saucing? Great. We're just going to spoon this right over the top. Looks delicious. Go ahead and put that all on there. The lemon in the sauce is really going to bring the whole dish together. The scallops are nice and rich, and the lemon has a great acidity. You always want to have a nice acidity in your dish. Ready to give it a try? Simple techniques like sauteing are the foundation for so many different types of cooking. You can just have a little fun with it. This demo is brought to you by Le Cordon Bleu.